Good morning or good afternoon, wherever you are. Welcome to our call today. This is Paul Hoyt. Welcome to the Office Hours, which is a relaxed, informal mentoring program that we do every Monday at noon Pacific time. All these recordings, slides, and exercises are archived in the members area at paulhoyt.com/tribe. And then all these recordings are also available on my YouTube channel at youtube.com/user/Paul Hoyt. The reasons we do these calls is that I know that being a successful business owner can be a great experience, but I also know that it's tough. Most people jump into the business without having the proper education and training, and they also need tools and teamwork in order to be successful. And I also want you to get to know me, because when you do, you'll know that I really do care about you, that I want you to succeed in all areas of your life, whatever that means to you. I want you to find the greatness, the happiness, the divinity within yourself, and then remember it, embrace it, and live it every day as I try to do. My passion is to increase the survival rate, accelerate the growth rate, and reduce the struggle rate of businesses in America. And my vision is to help millions of CEOs and entrepreneurs accelerate their business growth and enjoy greater harmony and balance in their lives. And you can help by passing the word. If you find these office hours presentations valuable to you, or the services that I provide in some way valuable to you, please mention that on Facebook. Refer me to your friends and your other colleagues out there, because I'd love to help them as well. Our office hours agenda is an in-depth discussion of a business success principle. Then I offer some closing remarks, special offers, and an invitation for next week's session. And then we go into open questions and answers and coaching and discussion, typically about the subject matter of the day, and then into anything else that you want to talk about. I invite you to join us at the Brilliant Business Groups on Facebook and LinkedIn. You can find it at facebook.com/groups/Brilliant Business. And on LinkedIn, you can find it at bit.ly Brilliant Business Group. We had to use a special little URL there because the URLs offered by LinkedIn are not nearly as friendly as the one offered by Facebook. I invite you to join us in those groups, because we publish the business success principle of the day on both Facebook and LinkedIn, and we do Energy of the Day postings on Facebook. Today was number 515, Energy of the Days. And during the call, I invite you to join us on the Facebook Brilliant Business Group to make comments, ask questions, share insights and takeaways. And our goal for this call would be 20 comments and likes in the Facebook group. So if you would, right now, if you're online and watching this call, if you can in another window, or minimize this one just a little bit or reduce it, you can go to the Facebook group, sign in, and share any insights that you have. I'm really excited about the Awakened CEO System, which is our new product and portfolio offering that we've got. We're doing another Awakened Conversation webinar on that's Wednesday, April the 29th. There's a mistake in the slide. It's Wednesday, April the 29th. Our last one was last Thursday, which was great to have a lot of people there. So watch your emails for sign-up information. But today's topic is on how much, product portfolio and pricing strategies. As I always try to do, we relate the subject matter of the day to the key performance areas of business. And in this particular case, it's really focused on three of them: leadership, product development, and on marketing. Your pricing strategies have to do with each one of these, and I think I should probably circle financial management as well, because your pricing strategies has everything to do with the margins that you make and how profitable your business might be. Our agenda for today is we're going to talk about pricing strategies, then we're going to talk about product portfolio strategies, and then we're going to sum it all up with the bottom line. First, let's talk about our pricing strategies. There are three primary pricing strategies that we're going to talk about today. One is cost-plus pricing, the second one is competitive pricing, and the third one is value-based pricing. But before we get into that, I want to have a little conversation about the terms of cost versus price. The cost is what you pay, and you can have direct costs or fully loaded costs, and it's important for you as a business owner and an entrepreneur to know the difference between cost and price, and to know what your cost is, both your direct cost and your fully loaded cost. And by the way, that can vary tremendously. For some companies, the fully loaded cost is not much different than the direct cost, and for other companies, the fully loaded cost is significantly more than the direct cost. It's important for you at your company to understand whether yours is a company with a large difference or just a very small difference. Contrasted to the cost, the price then is what your customer pays. And there's a big confusion point here, and the confusion point is that your price is your customer's cost. So if I sell a product at $100, that becomes a cost to my customers, and my cost is not their cost, because if my cost was their cost, then I wouldn't be making any profit margin at all. I wouldn't have any markup on my products and services at all. So I encourage you to adopt these terms within your company so there's never any confusion amongst people at your company whether you're talking about cost or whether you're talking about price. And I also encourage you to get familiar with the terms markup and margin, which are two different ways of expressing the difference in between the price of the product, or what you're selling it for, and the cost of the product, what it actually costs you to deliver the product. The markup is how much you multiply your cost by in order to determine the price. The margin is your gross profit, which is your price minus your direct costs, divided by the price. So the relationship between these is pretty significant. A 100% markup means a 50% margin. So if I have a product that costs me $50 and I have 100% markup on that, that means I'm going to sell it for $100 and I have a 50% margin, which in the case of that example was a $50 gross profit, which is a 50% margin. There are formulas by which you can calculate your markup if you know the margin, or you can calculate your margin if you know the markup. And the formulas are this: the markup equals the margin divided by the expression 1 minus the margin, and your margin is equal to the markup divided by the expression of 1 plus markup. I don't expect you to get those, and we're not going to go into the math of those very much, but I wanted to include them in the presentation so those of you who download the slides can get those formulas quite easy down the road. So now that we've talked about the terminology of cost versus price, and we've talked about markup versus margin, I want to talk in a little more detail about the 3 primary pricing strategies. First of all, cost plus pricing. Cost plus pricing is when you set the price of the product as the cost of the product or service times a small markup. It's really common in procurement contracts and sometimes seen in social cause efforts. So for example, if I'm doing business with the federal government, I might have a cost plus pricing strategy involved with them. So they may allow me, as a part of my contract, to charge them 7 to 10%, in some cases 15%, more than what my cost was, and it's up to me to verify to them that I in fact did incur the cost. So that's very common in a procurement contract. When I'm hiring somebody to go buy my products, to go buy my raw materials, or go buy the parts that I'm using to, say, build a building, I might engage their services in a cost-plus pricing contract. So you go buy all the wood, all the lumber, all the building materials that I'm going to use, and because you're acting as my procurement service or my purchasing agent, I'll pay you 7 to 10%, maybe even higher than that, for the service that you're providing to me, which is to acquire all of these products and services. There's a challenge with that, of course, because when you hire somebody to do it that way is because they are not incentivized to save you money. They're incentivized actually to negotiate contracts that are not in your favor, because the more you pay for something, the more profit that they see, the more price that they're able to charge you for their services on that. But cost plus pricing is a significant factor in any time that you sell a product through multiple channels. And we're going to talk about that for the next couple of minutes. And we're going to start by talking about the basic business models. You know, I think this is something that we should teach in school from the very beginning. Every junior high school student, and college student, I think, should understand what I'm going to tell you here in the next few minutes, which is the basic business model, which, by the way, took me 40 years in business to figure that out. I probably didn't figure it out until 10 or 12 years ago because nobody was ever talking about it. So I'm optimistic that you'll gain considerable value from these next few moments of this conversation. So here's a basic business model. You make a product for $25. You sell it at wholesale for $50, which is 100% markup. And then the person that you sell it to for $50 sells it at retail for $100, which is another 100% markup. That's the general business model. I make it for 25 bucks. I sell it wholesale for 50 bucks. Whoever I sell it to at wholesale for 50 bucks, they sell it for 100 bucks retail. And oh, by the way, I can sell it for $100 retail whenever I sell it retail. Whenever I sell it at the back of the room after I've done an event, whenever I sell it at a trade show, or whenever I sell it online, or whenever my direct sales team or my online team sells that product directly to a client, then I'm selling it at retail for $100, and as you can tell, I'm making a lot more profit, or at least I'm making a lot more gross profit and margin than I do whenever I sell the product at wholesale. And here's a general rule. The lower your cost is relative to the retail price, in other words, the higher your margin is and the larger your markup is, the more pricing options that you have available to you, the more channel options that you have available to you. And there's lots and lots of variations on this basic business model. I'm going to show you one of these that has a simple middleman inserted into the middle of this. In this case, I make a product for $20. I then sell it to a distributor for $40, which gives me 100% markup. They sell it at a wholesale price to somebody who's going to sell it for retail for $50, so they take a 25% markup. They enjoy a 20% margin whenever they buy it from me and sell it to a wholesaler or sell it to a retailer, and then that retailer then sells it for $100. So there's a middleman in this particular equation, and that middleman is a distributor that allows me to get better reach to my marketplace. With competitive pricing, we don't pay too much attention to the cost at first. With competitive pricing, we price our products based on what the market will bear, which requires market research and is a form of market response. And usually with competitive pricing, it means that we have to do continual market research, because as our competitors change the prices of their products, we may also choose to change the prices of our products. If we do it in collusion with our competitors, by the way, that's illegal. You're not supposed to do that sort of price fixing or that sort of collaborative pricing strategies with your competitors. So you have to be careful about the form and the nature of your market response there. But generally, competitive pricing says that I want to set my prices according to what my competitive prices is, so that I am perceived to have a particular position in the marketplace. And generally, your price impacts your perceived value, and it impacts your position in the marketplace. With the third type of pricing strategy, value-based pricing, our price is set not based on our cost and not based on what our competitors are charging for their products and services, but rather we set the price of our product based upon the value that our product or service is bringing to our customers. Our cost might be 10 cents and the retail price could be $10, which is, a 99% profit margin and about a 9,900% markup on the product. Or the cost could be $9 and the price could be $10 if that's all the value that we're bringing to our clients, and because of that, it's what the market will bear. It's what our customers will actually pay for our products and services. So with value-based pricing, we have an opportunity to make considerably more margin and considerably more gross profit than we do with the other types of pricing strategies. But wait, there's more. There are, in addition to the three primary pricing strategies that we've talked about, cost plus pricing, competitive pricing, and value-based pricing, there are also some other considerations out there. And those considerations can fall into a couple of different categories. Primary sales considerations are commissions. You have to make sure that you understand that commission adds to your direct cost and reduces your margin. So, as we'll see in an example in a minute, if I'm making something for $25 and selling it to a wholesaler for $50, that doesn't mean that I'm making $25 gross profit, because I have to factor in commissions. There can also be factoring in overrides. If you have multiple layers in your sales team, for example, you have a vice president of sales and a bunch of sales people, or you have a vice president of sales, a branch manager, and then sales people operating underneath them, your commission strategy is a lot more complex. It has overrides in it. You may pay the primary salesperson 5%, but you may pay their manager 2%, and you may pay the vice president of sales 1%, so that your overall total commissions would be 8% instead of the 5%. You have to make sure that you're managing your commission structure in multiple layers if in fact you have a business that has multiple layers to its commission structures. But wait, there's even more than that. There's spiffs and contests as well. So your total cost of sales may involve your sales support team. It may involve spiffs, which stands for Sales Performance Incentive Fund, which are the awards and the contests that you have for your people. Everybody that sells, $100,000 worth of this product is going to be able to go to our rewards club, or they're going to get a free car or a TV as a bonus, etc. Those type of the expense of those contests and the expense of the entire sales team need to be factored into your pricing strategy, because they will in fact affect or determine what your gross profit is. You may also have referral fees, and to even complicate it more, you may have discounts, promotions, and specials that you need to factor into your pricing strategy. So when you think about setting your price, make sure that you're including everything that's in your set cost of sales as a direct and perhaps a fully loaded price, or cost rather, and taking into consideration referral fees and taking into consideration any discounts, promotions, and specials. You want to make sure that you're making sufficient profit on your products after you've paid sales commissions, after you've paid referral fees, and after you've offered discounts and promotions and specials. And yes, sometimes your price may have all of these things associated with it. You may be paying commissions at multiple layers. You may also be paying a referral fee to somebody that brought the lead into your organization, and you may also be offering a discount or a promotion. So whenever you think about your pricing and you set your pricing, make sure that you're taking into consideration all of these different aspects of your cost. There are other considerations as well. Some of those considerations might be your other products. So for example, if I'm having a product portfolio that we're going to talk about here in just a little bit, I may want to try to set my pricing at level 1, level 2, level 3, and I may be making more money on level 2 than I am on level 1, a greater margin or a greater markup than I am at level 3 or level 1, because I want to make sure that I have like a $1,000 product and a $2,500 product and a $5,000 product, because that makes more sense in the overall product portfolio and product funnel strategy. So you want to make sure that with your products that you are pricing your products in consideration of the other products that you're offering, so that it makes sense to your consumer. And you may want to offer volume purchase discounts, and instead of just regular discounts and promotion, you may have standard policies with regards to volume purchase discounts or trade discounts, as they are sometimes called. You may want to take into consideration your add-ons, for example. It's very typical, by the way, in the car industry, the automobile industry, for a dealer not to make very much money when they sell the car, but to make a lot of money when they sell the warranties and when they sell the maintenance programs and when they sell the add-ons, the radios and the air conditioners and the rust protection and the seat mats and other sorts of things can be extremely high margin products which are added on or upsold typically at the time of sale to the lower priced or lower margined products in order for the dealership, in the case of the automobile industry, to make sufficient profitability on the products that they sell. You may also have loss leaders in your particular product line. One classic example of that is that we give away the razor in order to sell the razor blades. We sell the Barbie dolls at 0 to very low margin because we want to make the money on the clothes, the Barbie's clothes that we sell. So you can look to multiple industries and find a lot of examples where the company doesn't make any money at all on the initial sale, but plans to make all of their money down the road, all of their profit down the road, because they're focused on the lifetime value of the customer and they're focused on selling higher margin add-ons and higher margin consumables and other things associated with those initial sales. Here's a couple of examples that I think hopefully might bring this conversation into a little greater clarity for you. So I'm going to talk about 3 different scenarios here about how we sell our products and services. In scenario 1, we make a product for $20. That's our internal cost, our direct cost of that product. We sell it wholesale for $50, which, by the way, is a very nice markup. That's a markup of 150%. That's a margin of 60%, and it's a very nice markup and a very nice margin. But we have a commission associated with that of $5 or 10%. So the net to us, the net to the company, is not the $30 gross profit, but rather, the net to the company is not $45. There's an error in this formula. The net to the company here is $25 because it cost us, or the net to the company is $45, $25 of which is a gross profit to the company. In scenario number 2, we have a cost of $20, but we're selling it to a middleman. We're selling it to a distributor at $45, and in this case, instead of paying a 10% commission, we're paying about what it turns out to be about a 5.8 or a 6% commission, and we're paying a commission of $2.50 because, generally speaking, it takes less effort on the part of our salespeople to sell a lot of products to a distributor than it does to less products to a wholesaler. So we're going to pay a less of a commission percentage to the people who sell to our middlemen, but we still have some expense involved within our organization to line up the distributors and service the distributors, so we still have somebody on our sales team focused on selling to distributors in the same way that we had somebody on our sales team focused on selling to wholesalers. So we make less money, less gross profit on that, and we pay less commission because generally we're selling in much higher volumes. And the third scenario is we're taking this $20 product and we're selling it $100 retail, but in this case we're paying a 15% commission or a $15 commission, and we also have the cost of retail marketing. So it costs us $25 in additional overhead for retail marketing, whatever that means. It could be the cost of going to a trade show and selling at the back of the room. It could be the cost of maintaining our online systems. It could be the cost of infomercials and other ways to reach retail clients. But usually speaking, whenever you sell retail, there's much greater marketing cost and a much greater cost to reach that customer than there is when you're selling either via wholesale or with a distributor. So when you sell through multiple channels, again, the rule of thumb is we want to make sure that we have as high of a markup and as high of a margin as possible. But wait, there's more. There's still other pricing factors, and those other pricing factors have to do with knowing that you can sell the same product or service at different prices, typically in different markets. I see this a lot with competitor or customer-based pricing. So, for example, I've seen people price their coaching services on a sliding scale that says that if you're making less than $50,000 a year, your price is $200 an hour. If you're making $100,000 a year or more, your price is $300 an hour. And if you're making $250,000 or more, your price is $400 or $500 an hour. We do sliding scale pricing based upon the ability that our customer has to pay with us. That's another pricing strategy that I've seen put into effect in particular methods. Or, for example, we have student pricing. You see software sold that way a lot, where we have our normal commercial sale for the product, price for the product, but if you're a student, we're going to sell you exactly the same product, but we're going to sell it for you for less because you're a student. Often another pricing factor is that your price determines the market. When you change your price, you change your market. This is especially true of products where there is a very low cost of direct cost associated with it, or a cost of goods sold. So in a coaching service, if I sell my coaching hours for $200, I attract a different marketplace than if I sell them for $50, or if I sell the exact same service for $500. If I sell the product, my coaching services, for $500, I will attract people who want to pay and who really need to pay to feel good about themselves $500 an hour for their coach. If I sell it for $200, I'll attract people who are comfortable with that pricing. And if I sell it for $50, I'm going to attract people who are comfortable with that pricing. And here's the key, is that somebody who feels that they are worthy of a $500 an hour coach is not going to feel good about themselves and not going to get near as much out of the engagement as if they hired somebody at $50. You have to make your price consistent with your overall brand and the image that you want to take to the marketplace, so that people feel like there's some congruency in between the prices that you have and the market that you are serving. And in some cases, interestingly enough, raising your price may actually increase your sales. If I am an artist, for example, and I have a $10,000 painting, I may find that that exact same painting may be able to be sold for $25,000 or $30,000 or $50,000. And with the pricing, I may actually increase my sales, and I certainly am going to appeal to a different clientele and a different marketplace, even though the effort to create that and the artistry that went in behind creating that painting was exactly the same. So there's lots and lots of pricing strategies to consider out there, in addition to the three primary strategies of cost plus pricing, competitive pricing, and value-based pricing. We have all these other factors to consider whenever it comes time to price our products. I want to talk now a little bit about product portfolio strategies, because they really impact the pricing. So let's talk about a product portfolio. If you can certainly have a single product company, but it's very rare for somebody to have just a single product. We have a product portfolio typically because it allows us to serve a larger market, it allows us to increase our conversion ratios, and increases the lifetime value of our customer, which generally increases our profit overall, and it allows us to be more profitable because you can generally have lower priced products feeding into higher priced products that allow you to have a different margin on those products and services. It's become customary in the world today to have a product portfolio. Let's have a conversation about product portfolios versus product funnels. In either one of these things, in a product portfolio or a product funnel, you may have a free entry point, something that you're giving away to attract people into your network so that you have essentially earned the right to market to them. Then you may have a low-priced product, a medium-priced product, and a high-priced product. That's a typical product portfolio strategy, that you would have multiple products at multiple pricing. In some cases, by the way, you would start out in the marketplace at a high-priced product and use what they call a knock-yourself-off strategy to add a lower-priced product to your product portfolio. When you knock yourself off, you are offering a product under a different brand than you offer your higher-priced products. A classic product portfolio strategy might be General Motors, where Chevrolet is their lower-priced product. Then they have Buick, and then they have Cadillac. They also used to have Oldsmobile and Saturn and Pontiac, but they canceled those product lines. So now I think they just have the three: Chevrolet, Buick, and Cadillac. They may also have the Pontiac product. I can't remember, but they also have GMC, and they have other types of product lines in their product portfolio with different pricing. It allows them to serve a larger market, and they have a bit of a knock yourself off strategy because they, even though you can see the general brand of General Motors, they generally don't market their products that way. The difference in between a product portfolio and a funnel is that a portfolio becomes a funnel when the higher priced products are extensions of or enhancements to the lower priced products. So for example, for that would be introductory and advanced training programs. You can start with my silver program, and once you've completed that program and gained the knowledge from that training and education, then you may want my gold program or my platinum program on top of that. And we take people from the entry point up to the more advanced, and then the senior, and then the kind of the inner circle. I'm, by the way, employing that strategy in some of the offerings that we have with the Awakened CEO system. We're beginning to offer an inner circle for our programs too, for those people who've engaged with me for a while and are interested in that inner circle program. Stay tuned for more announcements with regards to that. The standard funnel approach is that we bring a customer in at a low level, we upsell either before the deal is closed, or we upsell during the delivery of that product or service level, or we let the customer decide where they want to stop. If we're upselling before the deal is closed, we can do that in a couple of different ways. As they place the order online, we can say, hey, wait, here's another special offer. Would you like to take advantage of that? Automatically using the power of our computer systems. Or if we're taking the order in person, we may suggest to somebody that there's an upsell opportunity and an opportunity for them to get even more. For example, but wait, we really appreciate your order for $19.95, but for only $10 more, you can get double the quantity. Would you like to go ahead and take advantage of that to double the amount that we're selling you for only $10 more? That's a classic strategy. Whenever you call an 800 number associated with an infomercial, you will see that the person on the other end of the line is heavily incentivized and motivated to get you to upsell at the point of the sale itself. More often times than that, though, we see that during the point of delivery. So I have a training program. I'll get towards the end of that training program, not necessarily the last program or the last course or track within that training program, but towards the end of it, and invite somebody to take advantage of a special offer to buy the next level up for a particular price at a discount for a particular number of days. We see that a lot with digital sales. The freemium model, if you've heard the word freemium, that's a classic funnel approach. We offer something to somebody for free, and then we get them so engaged with the product that in order to continue using it, or to have it at more advanced levels, or to buy their way to the next level, then they can engage with us and actually begin to purchase something. Here lately, I've seen, in addition to this standard funnel approach, I've seen people recommend an approach called the reverse funnel approach. And the reverse funnel approach says that we don't start out with the lowest priced product, we offer the highest priced product first. And then the higher priced levels typically contain all of the components of the lower levels, and we downsell only if we have to, but our mandate to ourselves, or our really goal, is that we don't want to let a customer out of a conversation without buying something. So the conversation goes something like this: I see that you're a person of great confidence and great assertiveness. Let me encourage you to buy our $30,000 product. And if somebody says, I really can't afford that right now, you might say, well, maybe the $20,000 product is right for you. And if not, then maybe our $10,000 product is just right for you. You don't get nearly as much as you do with the $30,000 product, but at least you're getting started. And the impact of that is that you keep reducing the price until somebody is far less comfortable. And by the way, the $10,000 product seems far more economical and doable and achievable than the $30,000 product did. If I started with the $10,000, then that seems like a high number, but because when I started with the $30,000, it seems like a much lower number in comparison. It does require a direct sales approach. In other words, you kind of have to be in conversation. It's very hard to automate a reverse funnel approach. You can automate a little bit of a downsell, but you can't automate a significant downsell. So it does require a direct sales approach. And I have to tell you, I'm not a fan of this approach, is because there's a considerable risk at overselling the customer. You know, I start out each one of these office hours sessions saying how much I really care about people and how I want them to be successful, that is very, very meaningful to me. I think that in my particular industry, the consulting, and not necessarily the coaching industry, but the consulting industry, people have a tendency to take advantage of the trust and the ignorance of people who are just getting started in business. So they sell them a $30,000 product or a $20,000 product, and the person doesn't know any difference. And I choose not to do business that way. I choose to get started out with the standard funnel approach, which is to give away a massive amount of stuff for free and then get you started at a fairly low price and then work you into a more expensive and extensive engagement if that's right for your business, and only if that's right for your business. And that's because I focus on relationships instead of just transactions. I focus on the lifetime value of the customer, and I do that through consumable products, memberships, and renewal fees, a tremendous amount, but I also focus on that by making sure that my clients are getting significant value from every product or service that they purchase from me. And I encourage you to do the same, by the way, because if you focus on the relationships that you have with your clients, you will increase the lifetime value of your clients. And you can do that by having consumable products and memberships and renewal fees. So here's the bottom line. I want you to consider all of the methods of pricing when you set the price for your products, not just one of them, but all of them. Focus on cost plus pricing. Make sure you understand what your cost is before you set the price of your products. And make sure you understand what the fully loaded price or cost of your products is. Focus on competitive pricing. Make sure that you know that you're determining your position in the marketplace by knowing what your prices are relative to your competition, and focus on the value that you're bringing other people. Even if the cost is only 10 cents, even if your competitors are selling it for $1, if your value is significantly more, consider selling your products for $10 and enjoying a tremendous markup and a tremendous margin for your products. The bottom line is that you can price your products. You want to make sure that you price your products so that you can make a substantial margin after you pay commissions and referral fees, after you offer promotional discounts, and after you offer volume purchase discounts. The way that you do that is to make sure that you price for all of your channels at the same time. Make sure you understand what your retail price is, what your distributor price is, what your wholesale price is, what volume discounts and all of those things you might offer, so that you can make a decent margin on your products. The bottom line is, again, you choose your market with your price. We talked about that earlier. And I encourage you to create a product funnel or at least a product portfolio in order to serve a larger market. And once you have priced your products, make sure that you're focusing on profitability analysis to verify that you are, in fact, making the margins that you plan to make. With some of my clients, they have a much higher overhead than they thought that they were going to have. And when you have a very large overhead, it means by definition that you need to have a greater markup, you need to have a greater margin in order to enjoy a profitable business. That's been our agenda for today. We talked about pricing strategies. We talked about product portfolio strategies, and we talked about the bottom line. Your homework is to re-examine your prices. Take this information that we shared today and go back in and take a look at your prices for all of your products and services and see whether or not you need to make a little tweak to your pricing strategies. Think about how to augment your product line and attract a larger market and increase your lifetime value of the customer, and get coaching and support to examine your portfolio, product funnel, and pricing strategies going forward, and we'd be honored to support you in that way. We're going to have open questions and answers and coaching in just a minute. First, we're going to have comments and questions on the topic of the day, and then any other issues that you want to talk about. I want you to go online and tell me what your biggest takeaways are and what your insights were that you gained from this presentation, and tell me what you're going to focus on in just a minute. Raise your hand up and ask a question. We'll take you off of mute and let you talk to the rest of the folks online and get some free coaching there. Because I really want to know what you're going to focus on. Our support services here at Hoyt Management Group include 3 different levels. In some levels, we teach you, we give you education and training so that you can do it by yourself, and we also have a do it with you level where we work collaboratively to create things like product funnels and pricing strategies and financial models and business plans. And then we also have a do it for you service where you can hand off to us things that you would like to see get done, and we will do it in return for you. The Awaken CEO system is our new brand for our product portfolio. We're focused in this system on your mindset and your methods and your momentum. We help you be the person that you need to be and help you develop the methods, the plans, and the procedures necessary in order to be effective in your business so that you can build momentum, maintain momentum over time. And our next conversation on that with the Awaken CEO system is next Wednesday. Again, apologies for the typo in the slide. It's Wednesday, April the 29th at 6 p.m. Watch your emails for invitation to participate in our next Awaken Conversation webinar. Our next office hours presentation will be next Monday, April the 27th, and we're going to do live group coaching. Every 3 or 4 weeks, typically the last office hours of each month, we engage with live group coaching for think about what questions that you have, and you can send them to me in advance or you can bring them to the call. I really appreciate you letting me know what topics you would like at paulsurvey.com, or you can certainly send me an email after doing your homework. And you can send me an email to paul@paulhoyt.com or call or text me at the number that's on your screen. And you can also go to schedulepaul.com and schedule a 15 or 30-minute meeting with me anytime that you like. And with that, we're going to open it up for Q&A and coaching. Stephanie, anybody have their hand up that might want to talk, or anybody have a question that we can address?
Canada has her hand up. If we're ready to unmute her and get her comments and questions.
I'm going to do that right now. Candida, go right ahead. You're off mute.
Yes, I have a couple of questions, but one that intrigued me for my art business is I have different product lines, and basically I recognize that I've had a reverse funnel, meaning focusing on the highest end product, the commission, and the next one being originals at the top end, and then having limited editions and smaller versions of originals and prints and so on, and working my way down. There's 2 ways. I'm wondering if I should go ahead and pull my photography line out into another brand name and separate that from my painting, fine art product, and the same thing with the furniture so there is no confusion about it, and then also maybe be able to start from the bottom up and reach a completely different clientele. Now I've worked very hard to end up at the top line clientele, and I've even considered to raise my prices considerably to just test out the market if I've made it into the correct market that way. So I'm sort of balancing out, should I focus on the lower end side and work my way up again with a different brand name, or just test out one thing of the increased pricing? What do you think in terms of strategy?
Well, first of all, I think this is a very big decision, so I'm going to give you some ideas off the top of my head here, but I wouldn't consider them to be conclusive because I want you to process this and get the advice and counsel of more than just one person. But what occurred to me as you were saying that is that the furniture line, I think, would be very consistent with your painting line, because I think it could bear similar price points. I'm concerned that the photography line might not be able to have anywhere close to the same price points. I don't know that for sure. But I've seen, $20,000, $50,000 paintings, and I've seen $50,000 original furniture, but I haven't seen $50,000 photographs. So my belief is that the photography might actually dilute your painting product line, and because it's priced at a different marketplace. But I think the furniture could be very complementary to, and it feels like it's got the same energy as your painting product line. So off the top of my head, I think that the furniture line is very consistent with your painting line, but I'm concerned about the photography line might somehow position you as a lower priced artist.
Yeah, that's a really good way to look at, and I will definitely take this into consideration. The way you're putting it together, that makes sense, because it is such a different price point. It actually even is in competition with my limited edition prints.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's definitely something that I will consider.
Great. Thank you so much for the question. I really do appreciate that. I'm going to put you back on mute and then see, do we have any other questions, Stephanie?
Yeah, got a couple here. First one, faster shipping is becoming a standard in the industry. Michael says we can unmute him if you'd like.
Okay.
Drones and Uber are examples of new delivery services that are challenging UPS and FedEx.
Yeah.
How will this change pricing in the industry?
I think it depends on the industry. So if we look at Uber, for example, Uber has really impacted, say, the taxi service in New York City. I mean, they're up in arms about that because it's so much less to do a ride share with Uber than it is to buy or purchase a ride in a taxi. So I think that's going to have a considerable impact on the marketplace. And in general, the idea of sharing and collaboration that we're seeing in a lot of different markets out there. So Airbnb is another one, and travel, being able to set your own itinerary and purchase your own airline tickets online. Generally speaking, technology, whenever it's implemented, has a tendency to reduce the overall price because you've got a lower end product that's automated in some way. So anytime you have an opportunity to automate, whether that's be an assembly line that makes automobiles, or to employ technology to say, for example, do your airline reservations online, or Uber, anytime that you have an opportunity to automate, you generally create a lower end to the marketplace, and it generally depletes the market opportunities for the higher end products. So I think that you're right. I think it's continuing. One of the things that you can't really automate, by the way, are the face-to-face experience near as much as you could, although I'm concerned that, say, for example, webinars and live experiences, when virtual reality really starts to take off here in 5 or 10 years, we may find that we're able to put on goggles and have a tremendous amount of the same look and feel as if we jumped on an airplane and went to a live rock concert, for example. So I think that we're going to see the lower end of the marketplace being developed and created with technology over time. I think that's going to be, we've seen that since the Industrial Revolution in 1850, and I think it's going to continue in ways that will continue to surprise us. Like, who knew that the internet was going to replace the research librarian, which it certainly has, and who knew that digital delivery of movies was going to cause Blockbuster to go totally bankrupt. It's all, there's some things that we can predict, but in my experience, there's a lot that we can't predict about the impact of technology in the future and the impact it's going to have on our products and our pricing. So thank you very much for that question, Michael. I appreciate it. I took you off of mute. I forgot to tell you I took you off mute. Did that make sense to you? Did I answer your question okay?
Yes, that's fine. It was just interesting to hear that Uber is now, drivers are now just shipping or carrying parcels and packages rather than people, and I just think that
Wow.
the industry too is going to play into that, where they're going to have a different price point. It's going to change again how we purchase things and how quickly we get it.
Wow, well, thank you for that. I actually didn't know that. I had not heard that Uber was now like, a courier service, right? Can you please, take my product or go to the store or go to the print shop and pick up my business cards and bring them to me because I need them today. So not only are they causing their taxi drivers problems, they're causing the courier services problems as well. So bike couriers are probably a little bit nervous about that. In very large cities, bike couriers are pretty common. Not so much in San Francisco. There's a lot of hills in San Francisco. Thank you very much, Michael. I'm going to put you back on mute. Stephanie, do we have another question or two?
Yeah. Shoot, I just wanted to put a comment of mine in there. I'm so pleased that you always talk about the sales and marketing costs, because I find that so many of my clients, when they're small or solopreneurs, when they're working with a very limited team, they fail to forget that there are sales and marketing costs and to include that in the cost of their products.
Yeah, absolutely. I've talked about this on several calls before, but it's really important for you to understand what your fully loaded costs are. And what we really like to do is do an analysis of your fully loaded costs by product or product line or by location or by customer, because you can find out some very interesting things when you find out how much it really costs to deliver a product to a specific customer in a specific location. There's always some surprises there, and you find out you're losing money where you thought you were making money, and maybe find out happily that you're making money where you thought that you weren't making that much. So, any other questions, Stephanie?
Yeah. Let's see. If retail is so much more profitable, why are products sold at wholesale? That's
a great question. So the reason we sell products at wholesale is market reach. It's just, we could have a strategy that's just like a Starbucks strategy. That's not a very good one. Let's go Krispy Kremes or In-N-Out strategy that says that we're not going to deliver our product to the customer unless we have the opportunity to sell it retail. That would be more an In-N-Out strategy, because you can go find Krispy Kremes on the shelves at some grocery stores, and you can find Starbucks coffee on the shelves at grocery stores, but you can't find In-N-Out on the shelves anywhere. You have to go to an In-N-Out in order to enjoy a delicious In-N-Out cheeseburger. So that can be a strategy, but it costs a lot of money and it takes a lot of time to reach your marketplace that way. On the other hand, if you have a consumer product and you're bringing it to market, there's no way that you're going to be able to bring that product to market all across the United States, let alone all across the world, by setting up your own retail outlets in every possible place. You want to sell your products by putting it on the shelves of other retail outlets that are already in existence, that already have relationships with your customers. So that's the biggest reason we sell wholesale in addition to selling retail. It's market reach and convenience. So for example, you can't sell all of the apples that you can produce on your own store shelves unless you're a small time and you're a farmer's market and the only thing you want to do is to sell your bushels of apples at a farmer's market. You can do that. But if you're a huge farming enterprise, a huge agricultural company who makes tons of apples every year, you can't distribute them locally yourself. You need to get an alliance or have a relationship with a large supermarket chain, a large food service distributor, in order to get those products out of your orchards and onto the shelves, and into the tables or onto the tables across America. So that's the primary reason. It's market reach. That's, by the way, is the same reason we work with distributors. We work with distributors because it takes too much time and costs too much money for us to set up all the wholesale relationships ourselves. So, for example, I've had clients that were in the fashion industry or the apparel industry. It's really common to work through manufacturers' representatives and distributors in that industry because we can't get our fashions or our consumer products to the market quick enough if we have to establish all the wholesale relationships ourselves. Better to sell it once to a distributor who already has relationships established with hundreds or thousands of retail outlets and who can push our product onto the shelves across the country in a very short period of time. I hope that was helpful. Stephanie, it's 12:57. I think we got time for one more question.
Okay. Let's see. What products carry the highest margins? Which ones have the lowest margins?
In my experience, high margin products are things like any product that's digitally delivered. So an information product, a training program, an education program that is digitally delivered in some way, a Kindle product, a book that's being sent out as a PDF or in Kindle format, carry extremely high margins because essentially there's a zero cost of delivery. There's some cost with taking the order. There's a credit card fee involved with that. But other than that, there's very little cost of delivery. It can, by the way, cost a tremendous amount to set up the systems by which we deliver extremely high margin products, but the products themselves carry very high margins. Low margin products would include things like produce on the shelves at your grocery store. The airline industry has a very low margin product, which is heavily impacted by the cost of fuel. Other low margin products might include some commercial products sold through outlets or overstocked stores. There's a brand called Chico's, for example, that has typically low-priced products because they offer their suppliers pretty darn low margins, and that's just the way they make their business. Walmart sells products at a low margin, and by the way, the reason they do that, or the way they do that, is through twofold. Number one is they've eliminated the middleman. Walmart only does business by making relationships directly with the manufacturers of the products, and they will take that additional 10% or 5% or 15% that the middleman was going to enjoy by eliminating the middleman. They also make money in a lot of other ways, one of which is that they typically don't pay for the products that are on their shelves until after they're sold. Their terms are such and their distribution network is sophisticated enough to where they'll take possession of the product, put it on the shelves, sell the product, and only then will they pay the person or the manufacturer who created that product in the first darn place. They're very, very efficient at providing low-margin products, at mediocre products at a low price to a hungry marketplace. They've done a really great job of that. I'm going to let that be our last question for the day. I hope that you will go back and re-examine your product portfolio, product funnel, and pricing strategies. And of course, give us a call if there's anything that we can help you accomplish in your business. We are passionate about helping you achieve success, whatever that means to you. And until we talk again next time, either for next Monday on April the 27th for our next live coaching session, or on April the 29th for our next Awakened Conversation, this is Paul Hoyt wishing you a most marvelous and prosperous day. Bye-bye.